What's up, guys? It's the Brazilian Bros of Naish Kiteboarding, and today we have a very special guest. Stig here, right next to me, just came off the water in a super windy day here in Brazil. For those who've been living under a rock, Stig is a big air legend who's actually podium at King of the Air, but he also does amazing work in terms of cinematography. In case you haven't seen his YouTube channel, I highly recommend it. So Stig, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get involved with kite surfing to begin with?
This started about 12 or 13 years ago, so it's a while. And it started completely as a hobby. I really enjoyed being able to use just my kite in the wind to go anywhere I wanted to go, basically. And with a lot of speed, and you could jump and you had a lot of freedom. So I think this part of exploring was very appealing to me. And then soon I kind of realized that I was also kind of good with the tricks and stuff. So I started competing in local competitions and I started doing better and sponsors started to pick me up. And I kind of grew from there. Also been a kite instructor for a while, trying to make some money to travel to the comps and so on. And now for the last 5 or 6 years, I'm living my childhood dream, basically.
That is awesome. I mean, it's been great to see how he's evolved the last few years. And I think a major highlight that we personally saw was your debut at King of the Air, right? Which you podium. How was that experience? How was it to be at King of the Air? How was it to rise to the podium on your first time at the event?
You remember it better than I do by the sounds of it. I mean, competing, like any competitive kiter that does big air or is involved in jumping high, King of the Air is a podium to show what you can do. So competing in the first place was a very big honor, and that was the goal, So I was telling myself in the morning of the comp, okay, if you make it a few rounds, you can be super proud of yourself. And it's funny because Adrian from Kite 365, we did a podcast a few days before, and then he's like, man, you think you can do podium or stuff? And I was like, I don't think so, but maybe if I'm lucky and I have a really good day, then I think I can make it happen. And it basically turned out that way. I spoke it out loud into the podcast, and then crazy. Best experience, probably competitive experience of my life for sure.
That's awesome. I mean, I still remember because you were going high and had a lot of power and aggressiveness on your tricks, which I think is something that I see on your tricks out there. And one really cool thing about you that I respect a lot is that you've been with a single brand Naish for a very long time, right? You've sort of stuck with them and you're just very loyal to the brand. So tell us, how did this partnership with Naish came to be, and how do you see Naish at the moment in the world of kite surfing?
Yeah, so I've been with them for 10 years, or a little bit more than 10 years by now, actually. We did a very cool video on this, so it's on the Naish YouTube channel. It's actually a big coincidence because I started kiting in a spot where it was not fully legal to kite, but it was super close to my house. And there was always one other guy kiting there. And then, he sort of became, even though he was much older than I was, he was in his 40s, I was 13, 14, but he sort of became my buddy. We looked out for each other in the water, and I told him about these comps, and I was competing in these local comps, and then I think it was my first year of kiting, and then I competed at the Dutch Nationals, and I came fourth, and then I went back to my friend on the beach, hey, I told him this story, and then he happened to be the importer of Naish in Europe. I didn't know. He always had super nice kites. I realized this, but I didn't know he was involved with Naish. And he kind of got me into the brand, and then, I never really felt the need to leave. I felt really at home. The gear is working super well for me, for my style of riding. And I really enjoy where they're going, the way they think and the way they do everything. And I never had, never felt the need to leave. And you always say, the grass is greener on the other side, but I don't think it is, and still really enjoy my gear and everything I do with them. So perfect.
Awesome. We saw you out there. You're on a brand new Naish Pivot, right? It's an Aluula frame. How do you like that kite, and who do you recommend it for?
Yeah, I've been riding the Pivot since the day it came out, also about 10 years ago. And now this is the second edition of the Aluula version. And I remember the first time I got it, I went to Brazil actually. I unpacked it in Brazil. And it was riding so well in like the little bit like lighter conditions, and the wind, because the wind's a little thin here. And I think in the first session I learned like 2 or 3 new tricks that I've been trying for months on my previous kites, and then I took the Aluula out and I was like, learned them all in one session. I was like, oh shit, like this is actually something, you know. So I guess for the people that really try to just get that little bit of extra out of their kite, like whether it's like light wind or a bit more gusty conditions or more choppy, yeah, it's just when you need that little extra performance, it's great. It's really, really good.
That's awesome. We've also tried not just the Pivot, but also the Psycho, which is Naish's brand new big air machine. How do you compare those two kites, and what would you recommend people to be thinking when they're trying to decide between the Pivot versus the Psycho?
So, like the Pivot is my do-it-all. Like my 9 Pivot is my baby. I'd bring it anywhere. Like if I don't know what to expect, like I'm going in place new and exploring, or yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be like doing some free riding or wave riding or unhooking or big air. Like the Pivot does it, like, and really well. So for this reason, I really enjoy the Pivot. And when you come to Brazil and like sometimes you want to record a video and you're like, I don't know, you're kiting, jumping over mangroves and all these things, it's like, just works really well. And then on a day like this one, it's really strong and I want to do some big air, it still works really well. So yeah, I guess for that overall kiter just enjoys the sport, like the sport and the conditions that they have. I always live with the philosophy that whatever conditions you get, use it in that way. So if it's like perfect conditions like today, like strong wind, waves, I do big air. If it's flat water and it's lighter winds, I try to freestyle. If it's great waves, I will go wave riding. Always try to live with that philosophy. And yeah, the Pivot is the kite to do this. And when I go to Cape Town, for example, and it's like, I know I'm going to get 40 knots and big waves, I take the Psycho out because it just goes a little bit extra, goes a little bit higher, and it's a little bit smoother for really strong conditions. But that's like, for me, that's like 10-20% of my session. So yeah, therefore I choose the Pivot.
That's awesome. I see here also that you've got the Naish board. What board are you rocking, and why did you decide to go with this particular board?
So I'm riding the Drive. It's a 138. 138 is a little bigger than most people ride, I guess, for big air. But for me personally, I like to unhook, to mix my big air with a bit of unhooking. And yeah, I need a bit of a bigger board to like stick the landings. I did one today, and you saw I come in with so much speed and with so much like, yeah, I need control, and I feel like a little bit of a bigger board gives me that extra control when I land. Mm-hmm. And I learned to ride how to like, I learned to do my takeoffs with it as well. Like when I go to Cape Town and it's like super strong, I take a 134. But yeah, to me, the board itself is very overall. It's very light on the feet. It's very maneuverable. It's forgiving on the knees, like when you land hard. And yeah, I really enjoy it. Like it comes very close, and it's very similar to the Motion, in the Motion and Vision. Yeah, it's just a great overall free ride board. I kind of use it as a skateboard by almost. It's like I just know it so well, you know.
That's awesome. And I mean, the other thing that's really cool about you is that you've got your sponsorship with Naish. You do the big air competitions, but the other side, which I mentioned before, is sort of like your video making and the cinematography aspect of you, which is really cool. And I highly recommend people to check out his YouTube channel to see it. But along with that, now you've got a couple of other sponsorships going, you know, with Jeep and things like that. And it's really cool to see how you're extending beyond the world of kite surfing to reach other audiences, right? And other people that maybe just want to watch that YouTube video. How is it making those videos, and what do you think of it?
Yeah, so this year, for 2 years, I've been partnered with Insta360s. They make action cameras, which fits in right into what we do, right? Like we need a camera that is sturdy and works in the water and doesn't mind like getting dropped on the ground or in the water. And also with Jeep, yeah, I mean, their brand fits really well, I think, into kiting. It's like their slogan is go anywhere, do anything. It's like, that's exactly what we do. And what I do is I explore and I want to see new spots and I want to kite on cool locations. And yeah, I think therefore I choose these brands very carefully and it needs to make a lot of sense, I think, in order to work together. And both brands, I think, really do. And it's cool to see that they are so stoked about what I'm doing as you guys or anyone that's following me. So yeah, I'm super honored to be with Jeep and with Insta360, and it's my goal to hopefully in the next few years get a few more of these kind of brands outside of the industry and be part of their commercials and their advertising and show them how cool kiting is. And I think, that's the goal for the next few years for sure.
That's awesome. That's for sure one of our goals as well, is just to reach broader audiences, make people kite surf. We're just gonna move here to right because we're right on the shadow there. But the shadow is nice. But I wanted to thank Stig today. He was an absolute legend, throwing it down out there in super strong wind. Thank you so much for watching this interview. Hope you guys like it. Make sure to subscribe to Mac Kite's YouTube channel and to follow Stig and the Brazilian Brothers on Instagram for more awesome kiteboarding content. See you soon.
Yes, thanks for having me.